Welcome everyone, it's Matt along with Goo, and today we are going to talk about Dragon Quest III. This is quite the level up of a lot of units and some really powerful units, including one of the best overall awakenings, Zoma, coming with this. So let's go over everything right now. Alright, let's start off with our hero Erdrick. His leadership is one of the best around. It raises attack power by 15%. Overall, his skills are very interesting. I'm not going to go over them very in detail. I'll do that when I go through the upgrades or the initial pull videos. But Astron puts it into basically just a heightened state. Just think of it as DQ3's heightened state. Thunder Sword Flash inflicts 200% zap physical damage, can cause stun. Phoenix Heaven is a large non-reflectable bang spell damage based on attack to all enemies. This is very nice because this is something to get around spells that like World Beater here with Madgarou with his reflect ability and Eternal Sword. Inflicts 400% whoosh damage and high chance of lowering defense for 3 turns. Noticing that Erdrick hero has 3 elements, and his ultimate is a dual element system, and you're going to see a bunch of new dual elements. But most important, all in all, very powerful attacker. He is 65 weight, not 60. That's how strong he is. His awakening skill, odd turns, increases his stats for 3 turns. So on turn 1, he increases stats. Turn 3 through basically 11 has really high end stats and then back down again. Crack and bang resistance. Third one reduces damage 20% for the first 3 turns. This is where he becomes really interesting in PvP, along with his intrinsic skill. And the last one gives him max HP 100, and both 3rd and 5th give also physical power plus 5%. I don't have Zoma right now, but with Zoma, very powerful as well. Turns a old unit into a meta as well. And then the next one here is another magic user, the Sage Female. She is probably the weakest of the 3 Gacha units, and not probably, she is the weakest, and I would say it's pretty far overall. She has really good leadership skill, increases heroic spell power by 20%. That's really important with Veronica and Jessica, but besides that, as a sage, she has the ability to heal and do damage, but not as good as Seraphy or young Terry, and does not have nearly as much power as Veronica or Jessica. And that's where the Sage kind of goes. It's good, but not great. Honestly, you're just better off having a good healer and a really powerful magic user than trying to combine them. First skill, High Speed Chant, increases own speed and increases spell recovery power by 1.5x for a turn. Demon Bihomara is a huge heal and increases spell resistance for 3 turns. Platinum Cannon deals heavy spell damage to an enemy. And Zygostorm is a dual elemental, whoosh and zam, that does very heavy damage to both enemies. The one unique here is that it will actually do 2 sets of damage using 2 different elements, and that in itself has got some really strong power. As I say, Sage is probably in the top 5 for magic power and can heal at a good rate, but with the MP drain and speed being an issue, I don't really rate her as a must-have, especially with Xenlon, who will be next. Awakening skill, 20% chance to have the same spell cast again at 50% power. Cycle Storm, that is really, really powerful. It can really help her a lot for damage. Bang and Zap resist. Then the 3rd and 5th are the same. 5% double cast increase, so if you get her all the way to 5 hearts, it turns into 30%. Magic Runaway, which means she gets a 5 and then 10% total of her ability to crit. And Spell Power, so all 4 or 5 of her skills, because of her as intrinsic as well, will be increased as well. She does add a lot of power. I'm not going to say she is weak. She is still a very strong unit, but unfortunately, her dual capabilities just don't really gel very well, especially since she does not have a great way to consistently get her MP up with all that MP consumption going through. And finally, Xenlon. Xenlon is a dragon who is 65 weight. So yes, people are like, ooh, dragon 50. No, this dragon acts like a boss, but is very important because its leadership effect increases dragon breath power. Is not the most used, but for the meta currently with dragons being part of the overall meta, Xenlon is incredibly powerful as long as you're going to be using the dragon breath. And remember, breath avoids any dodging capabilities, so it is very powerful. Its skills are absolute damage. Flames That Crawl does very good frizz damage with some seals. World of Dreams does breath damage to one enemy 5 times and heals 50% damage to you. Remember, if you're using his leadership, it gives him 25% more power. Breath power ignores a lot of other things, and it's just really mostly based on level. So that actually deals quite a punch and being able to heal himself. And lastly, Dual Frizz with Frizz and Crackle deals large frizz damage and crackle damage to all enemies within range. Honestly, you're going to be switching mostly between World of Dreams and Dual Frizz to try to keep yourself healed. Awakening skill, reduce damage by 50%. For us, it's not 3 turns, but 3 attacks up to 99 turns. So the first 3 attacks, as long as you're not doing a Blossoming Door where you're trying to get to 200 turns or so, you will be able to get a nice overall 3 turns of reducing damage by 50%, which is pretty important. The next one, all status up, first resistance plus 25%, and Sizz at 25%. Third one, increases damage dealt to enemies by 20% when HP is 50% or higher at the start of the action. That's why it's really important to reduce that damage by 50%. Keeps you there if you get to the 3 hearts. And 5 hearts, it's just like a World Breaker, restores own HP when attacked by enemy. So along with the World of Dreams, plus that, people who are going all in on Xenlon are focusing on that because Xenlon is incredibly difficult to kill. Plus, being dragons and be able to boost other dragons with the intrinsic skill and the leadership just makes Xenlon incredibly powerful. Now we've got 2 free units. The first one's Ramia. This one is a healing boss unit. Actually has a decent amount of skills. The only problem is weight is pretty high. Otherwise, I would be really saying this is a pretty powerful unit. But for a free unit, still very good. First one inflicts small damage to an enemy 4 times and recovers all that damage to HP back to you. Thunderball inflicts a large amount of zap damage to an enemy, and Breath of Phoenix is a huge amount of HP to all allies. The leadership is pretty weak, but sometimes you might need it because reduced breath consumption by 10% can be useful. But the awakening skills, which you're going to go through, so there's up to 440 that you're going to have to farm. Reduce MP cost of breath feats. Most of its attacks are breath feats. Crackle resistance up 25. The third one is actually guts. So if it goes down to 0 once, it will leave with 1 HP. Boom resistance, and then the recover 30% max HP when HP is below 1%. So when you hit that 1 HP, it will hit that 30 max HP unless if the unit going against you is doing a multiple attack, something that attacks like say 4 times like suction, then it won't proc until that action is complete. So that one sounds really, really busted, but in a way it can be completely avoided as well. So it's not nearly as strong as you would think. So how do you get Ramia? It's actually a 2-tiered process. The main one is you need to gather all 6 orbs, which are shown in the right. They are pretty easy to do overall. Probably the hardest ones are the Shinryu Necrogod, which is the bird. All in all, and maybe the 150 weight mission is actually fairly easy. It just requires a little bit, and actually if you've got a really powerful Corvus, you might be able to solo that mission as well. But overall, it's not too hard. As I say, I think the hardest one will be the 150 weight mission, but that can be done within like 2 or 3 weeks, even for brand new accounts. So Ramia isn't super hard to get, and once you do that, then you get the Awakening Chris at the battle right there. And it does require roughly 3,000 stamina to get all of them. Luck will determine how much more or less it really is. We're also finally officially getting Robbin Hood. Increases the defense power of bosses by 30%, which is pretty forgettable. Its initial skill, Life, has a range up to 2. Has a chance to lower one enemy attack and wisdom for 2 turns. It's actually really important for its final awakening skill, which I'll talk about there. Flame Strike does frizz physical damage to all enemies, and Katana Musu, basically Robbin Hood's attack, randomly deals 50% physical damage to enemies within range, I think 4 times, and occasionally lowers defense. It might be 6 times. I don't quite remember. Greatly increased movement for 1 turn. It's the first awakening. Obviously, it's very important. Whoosh and Zam are second and fourth. Third one raises attack power for the first 3 turns. And last one, when it's attacked by an enemy, and if it's within range of 1 to 3, Life will activate and try to lower attack and wisdom for 2 turns. And obviously, the last Katana choking power, Katana Musu, will go up by 5%. How do you get this? He will initially drop in Chapter 1, Episode 4. So he is pretty much guaranteed for everyone to get at the very least. And then upgrade Waking Quicks with Awakening Chris in basically it's going to look like this. It's 3.4k stamina. That will take quite a long time, but most people should be able to get at least halfway there, get to the 4th Awakening. There are now also going to be 3 A units. The first one is the Baramonster. Is basically can lower spell resistance and confuse enemies. And has 1 very large first spell damage. If you look at its HP, it's pretty good. Its defense is okay with agility. That's pretty decent. Will occasionally cause confusion when receiving physical attacks. So if you see a Baramonster and this is part of a confused team, you want to be attacking it with something that's not physical. Otherwise, you have a chance at being confused, and it's up to 50% if it is fully awakened. The last one occasionally will increase its defense for 4 turns. So it is designed to be hit physically and to try and confuse with the bewildering light as well. It's a pretty good unit overall. All right. And the unit summonable for Xenlon is Elysium Bird. Very interesting healing unit that can actually lower speed, but more importantly, actually push an enemy back up to 5 squares behind. And the other skills, multi-heal, which is obviously, we know, greatly heals units. This is a fast unit that can move forward, but has very low defense and middling HP, so can easily be killed. But if you're like doing 2 units and one of them you want, or maybe even if you use it very correctly and you have a selfless unit, you can use this unit to push back one unit far enough away so it just can never ever actually attack, or even just attack every other turn. This will be very important, so you can then whittle the other unit down. As an example, on incredible use for Elysium Bird. First Awakening reduces MP, which is important for multi-heal. Otherwise, it has enough MP to really last a while, even with Basilia. That one you're actually going to want to level up to get that MP down to around 16 or 17 per turn. On the Third Awakening, occasionally at 40%, will greatly increase spell resist for 4 turns. Once again, you're going to probably pair this with the selfless, push a unit back, heal, push, heal, etc. And that's what you're going to just want to do. The leadership effect is very easily to be skipped. Nature spell MP usage by 10%. It's one of the worst ones that I've seen in quite a while. But overall, it's a pretty good unit, and it's going to be a unit that most people are going to pull on. As I say, it has interesting uses. Honestly, I'd rather have the next one here. Heavy Hood has some pretty interesting skills. Menusa Slash, which does some stun and mobility itself as well. Speed for 3 turns and land impact. This is for the Sage female, which most likely people aren't going to be pulling for. If you do like the Sage female, First Awakening gets +1 movement. Third one increases physical power and recovery by 1.5x. And third one can give increased physical crit rate. As I say, it has some interesting debuffs and all that. I'll go on that a little bit more. But once again, I don't think a lot of people will be pulling on this, because the other 2 units, Xenlon and our hero Erdrick, are much, much better overall. So we have a lot of farmable monsters here, just like all the other events. We have Kandata, which is Robbin Hood in Japan. So we have Robbin Hood, which is going to be the Eastern Cave of Baharata, Ramia, King Squid, Fern Fiend, Raven Lunatic, Magmalus, Shade, and Cumulus. All these units are going to be on one of the 2 battle roads, which I'll talk about a little later. So we have 6 weapons and armor that can be earned. The first one is a Great Sage Wand, going with the Sage here. Platinum Cannon and Geigo Storm Power are the top 2 things that you're going to want to go with. Obviously, this is for Sage. If you don't pull for Sage, it is a pretty good spell power at 4%. Try to get just wisdom and or probably 8 agility. But honestly, more than likely, you're going to be rolling for the skills. It's really hard to just get the stats. So if you do get Sage, go for the skills. Shinryu's are essentially be Xenlon's Claws, Agility +20, Attack +14, Breath Power +4%. God Breath, Aurora Breath, those are the ones you're going to be going for. If you don't get Xenlon, the Breath Power is going to be pretty good overall. Then you're just going to go for Agility. As I say, breath power is something that you want to really look forward to. And the last one is our hero sword, Erdrick sword, or Old Man in JP. HP 30, attack 30, hero physical skills plus 5%. Alchemy is going to be the hero type of Zap or Whoosh physical power, so it's going to be one or the other. Doesn't specify skill, but obviously it's mostly for Erdrick, but it can be used for others as well, depending on you can focus how you want it. It could be also have HP, attack, and agility. We have 1 armor, light armor, defense plus 20, and rarely at 20% you'll get spell resist up. So it's a random time when you'll get some spell resist improved. Alchemy is first and crackle spell resist, defense and HP. Phoenix Dagger with the flag exchange. This one's got Sky Thunderball, Phoenix Breath, MP, and Int. This is for Ramia. And not a light armor, sorry. This is the Axe from the flag exchange. This is for Robbin Hood. Does the Robbin Hood, the Kandata choking, firepower, attack HP with some power plus 2% as well. One of the importance here is there's going to be Orichalcum Shards. There's going to be a total of 21 shards available. The first one is going to be if you can get 15. That's how you will get the Old Man Sword, or could be the Orichalcum Sword by the time we get it translated. And there's a chance to also, if you get the 6 other shards, you can get up to 30 S-type alchemy stones, which they assume, and honestly it's a good assumption if you get lucky, that you'll be sending that for the sword, but you could use it for any S-class weapon. There's 1 each in all of these above. For the Dragon Quest 3 points, it will be updated. There will be 3 updates. The first update will be the hero. Second one will be Xenlon. Third one will be Sage. Sage and Xenlon could theoretically be switched out, and that will be roughly each week. So you'll be able to buy them with there's going to be flags as our new currency. There'll be 3 total, 1 every basically week. There's 2 shards in here, 3 with the Shinryu battle, and 2 shards here for the Zoma battle, which I will talk about a little bit later. This is a new type of event that's really, really cool. And you'll also be able to get 5 shards just by doing 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000 clears in Dragon Quest 3. Remember, that also includes battle roads. So theoretically, this one will take absolutely 0 stamina to do if you need to. And at the very least, with those 5, you can unlock 25 of these at the very least. For a good portion of this will require getting the 15 shards is on the harder side of some of the events that we've gotten before, but it is plausible. Most of these can be done, except for the hero quest here. That one, I believe the one that they do that on is on the hardest one, and it is fairly hard to get. These 2 are the battle roads, so as long as you get to the battle roads of 7, you'll get those. These here are fairly easy. These are just to clear the bosses, so it's not that big of a shut deal. So at the very least, you're looking at 10 fairly easy ones, 13 here, and you're looking for 15. And I believe that both Zoma and the Robbin Hood wannabe is doable as well. And that should get you to 15 plus 1 or 2 there. Some of these, though, do get very, very hard. But it is possible. And I wanted to kind of highlight where they are for people, as I know that there's going to be people, I can't find shards that I can do. So I highly suggest, obviously, these 5 shards. These 5 single shards are definitely doable. 3 here, so that's 13. And you should be able to squeeze out 2 right here to get the 15 you need to get the sword. For the Search of Legends, the priority is top to bottom here. Basically, you're going to be looking for units. Obviously, Robbin Hood is going to be your highest one. I'm personally going to say get Ramia up first, then Robbin Hood. That one, for me, I feel is more important is Ramia. But then you're going to go for Robbin Hood. Then we'll go for all the other ones down below. This is going to be where you're going to be spending most of your energy anyways. None of these are very, very hard. You see that the request here is 15,000. Most people can level up at this point with random units and just doing auto at 15,000. So not really hard. Even for newer accounts, they should be able to do this. Now we've got a whole bunch of different battles. Just going to go through these fairly quickly. The Mysterious Cave here, we have 3 different ones. The Baramonster is very dangerous, can confuse you either using spell or breath. The other units are not nearly as scary. The Deathstalker here, though, will change on its attacks on behavior. So be very, very careful. The EX is recommended 26,000. But if you notice here, as long as you're mostly strong against Whoosh and Zap, you should be okay. If you have someone that can do Wind and Zap here, it would be great. Here's the one example of a fairly lower level party group, but this is not exactly free to play. But basically, Dual Magus was just 1 heart, and I believe the hero was 1 heart as well. And the rest of these were free to play units. So it is a little bit more challenging in that regards because of that. But this is the Mysterious Cave. Next one's Shiryu or Xenlon Battle. This one really is, I believe, the second hardest overall. Might be our hardest, depending on which one you have easier, either between this one or the Heroes Battle. This is the EX. As I say, I forget exactly where the Orichalcum Shard is, if it's EX or the very hard. But for the leader here, the hero was by far the best. Boy Terry needed to be the fastest, and it's around 5. It's going to be above 550 agility. This is not a team that I'm going to be able to take personally, but you will be needing the Scorpion armor in order to really keep everyone alive. Most importantly, too, is using Selflessness to protect your buffs on turn 2 and 3 for everybody. Xenlon is going to try to debuff you. It's very important for you to keep the buffs for everyone else. Boy Terry's going to give you those buffs. And I will have my Boy Terry up there. Unfortunately, the other 2 I'm not going to be able to use, so I'm going to have to substitute for strengths and weaknesses here. My big worry here is Whoosh and a Zap. I'm fairly weakened, so this will be a pretty tough battle for me. The other really, really tough battle is going to be the Hero of Arahan EX battle. You got the hero and 3 sages that you got to go through. They don't have an awful lot of HP, but you're basically going to need to whittle units down. Boy Terry's going to be the fastest. Erdrick with around 595 agility. Sorrow should be faster than 439. You're going to really want to wait for some of the units to kind of come through there. Jessica and Diamond Slime need to be faster than 401. So it is relatively speed tuned, but here is another example of units going through here. But as you can see here, these are all the same. 3 types here. Basically, Frizz is going to be your best friend. That's what you're going to want to do. And Jessica's basically goal is to absolutely nuke the hero on turn 5 as quickly as possible. Rubus, our bird here, is the next one. This one I don't feel is as hard. This is how you're going to be able to get the light armor. You can also defeat missions here to get Rainbow Orb and Hero Fragments. Basically, there is enough to be able to get I believe it's 6 and 3. That doesn't add up, but doesn't matter. You'll be able to get a Rainbow Orb, and if you've got any additional, there will be Hero Fragments. All in all, the most important unit, fortunately, is Sorrow. You need the ability to go back and forth, and you're also going to try to pick off units that can hit there. So Crackle is going to be Killing Machine, and then work everywhere else. Oddly enough, there will be a few of these. They should be killed fairly easily. The Green Dragon is a giant pain in the butt and will be basically 1v1'd with your Killing Machine. And here I believe Sorrow is going to kill first. You're going to focus down because Selflessness is annoying. So that is the Rubus EX battle. And what I really wanted to go through is the Battle Zoma Castle Capture. This is a new style event. For the FFBE people, this is kind of like a Dark Vision, except much faster and easier to equip. This is something where I would like my other game, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, to do more of this style, where it's a little less overall work to do. But there are 7 main goals here. The most important one is your difficulty is going to give you like a base set of points. And your goals basically get to 210,000, which would cap. So the base is the highest one. How many enemies you kill is the next. Basically, you're going to need to leave Zoma to last because you want to wipe up the floor with everyone else. How many units survive? Basically, you don't want any units to die. And by the way, you're going to have a lot more units than you're used to in this battle, which is actually kind of cool. This battle is a little slower because of it, but it is a change in pace in that regards, and honestly, it's a lot of fun. Turns, less turns equals more points. Not really surprising. Damage received, and also damage given. If you are overkilled, that will count against you, and also there too. And the target kill, basically, you get bonus by killing Zoma. You want to kill Zoma last, though, so you get as many enemies killed. And, you'll kind of have to play the roles to see what you can do. So the EX battle, Bang, Zap, or Breath Attacks are the best. The reason is there are some enemies that will dodge it, and Breath Attacks are pretty good overall. Yes, I have 8 units here. You will be placing 8 units, not 4, or not 5, basically. And if HP goes below 50% on Zoma, his spell power will greatly increase. So what you're going to really want to do is leave Zoma, let him attack, then go all out once you get near that 50%. And once again, make sure you leave Zoma for last, because when you kill him, the battle will end. Last but least, there's 2 battle roads. The first one's going to be Lamia. That will have, or Ramia, I should say, they'll have Xenlon, and a whole bunch of new units with 4 old world units. The last one here will be Robbin Hood or Kandata, which is what it was in Japan. And there will be only 3 old units with 7? Yes, 7 new units overall. The new units, so these 4 here are all going to be can be farmed, and 3 of these here can be farmed as well. So I hope you guys enjoy. Good luck. and have fun on Dragon Quest 3. All I have left to say to everyone is bye.